Hello, it's November 27th, 23, SIG Release Meeting. So, yeah, I have a couple of things to discuss before that. Vim, Tor, Rado, Liam, anything specific that we need to talk this meeting?
Not from me. The only thing that we had one question in our meeting on Wednesday last week, I think, Bala, was to Rado on the time it takes. You remember the discussion that we have two setups, or we are planning to do two setups for
Yes.
these two?
Yeah.
And what is the consequence on the time it takes to run these end-to-end tests, right? Because that was one of the questions we were going to discuss with Rado today, I think.
Yes. Thanks, friend. So, Rado, just to give the context, I mean, you already know this. So right now we have free 5GC, right? End-to-end test running. Now OAI is coming, and me, you, Victor, and then Sagar, they were discussing, and we'll create one more setup to spin off clusters and workloads for OAI. So the question is, now that we are adding one more setup, how long would it take to run the end-to-end test? I mean, two things. How long would it take to do the setup, and then run the end-to-end tests? Would they be sequential? Can they run in parallel? Things like that.
Yeah, so from what I see, it's the OIA tests. This is still in works. Victor's gonna be, he messaged me before the meeting. He's gonna be a bit late because he's got like overlapping meeting, so he can probably shed more light on the subject, but they can be run concurrently, so the time will not add up. And I don't believe the tests for OII will be taking a much longer than for 3.5GC. So it's the time will pretty much remain the same. It will just put more strain on our infrastructure, but we have quite a lot free resources, so I don't think it's gonna be a problem.
Okay, because it's not going to add cost and stuff like that. Was one of the questions.
It will add the cost, but we didn't. Even though I asked for it a few times, like what's our spending budget? So the general consensus is like, if we're not doing anything crazy, like spinning out, like 10,000 instances and mining Dogecoin or whatever on it, we're we're good. So I don't think one more VM is gonna get us in trouble. But that's one of the points, Bala, I guess, has to be clarified at one point, like what's our allowable spending limit there in this infrastructure, because as much as I enjoy having virtually no limits, it would be, I guess, good to have at least some some guidelines, like what what we can do and what we cannot do. So yeah, at one point, I guess it would be good to have this clarified. So I guess we can add this to some to-do list.
Yeah, I think let's bring that in the TSC meeting. Thanks, Rada. So the way I understand right now is, right now we do not see any issue with resources or cost because we are using very little. But at some point of time, it may become so. For that we need a little bit of guidance. Is what I think you're asking, right, Rada?
Yeah, and what generally I would like to avoid is the situation that we've planned for some architectural setup, which then we will have to either tear down or just think about something else, because we're gonna get email like you're spending too much on this Google Cloud project. So for now, we're burning around like a $300 per month or something, which is basically nothing considering the size of the project. So we're good, but I prefer the situations that we have like a clear amount what we can allow ourselves to spend on an infrastructure.
Yeah. But so rather one question is, were we not going to do, because today the end-to-end tests, they don't run on a PR merge, right? Were we not going to do that, and will that not add more stress to it?
It will, but we're not having, like, judging from the R1 traffic before this. I don't think it will put a large stress on our infrastructure. It's basically done. I will probably push it today or tomorrow. Last week I was just a bit sick and also pulled to other stuff. So hopefully this will get implemented shortly. And we'll see. Like I'm really not sure what kind of influx of PR we're expecting now, but we'll see. Maybe if it's too much, we will have to think about like narrowing the the number of tests, or kind of some throwing out some if that's feasible. But I guess we'll have to see what the load's gonna be.
Okay.
Okay, so Wim, it appears that at this point of time we do not anticipate an issue either with cost or time, because we are. But it will be a bottleneck at some point of time, which we'll need to figure out, but not for our tool. That's what my understanding is.
No, I'm not concerned about R2, Bala, at the end of the day. I'm more concerned, because I think R2 is what I call a light release at the end of the day, right? There's not so much traffic at the moment. So I'm not concerned about R2. I'm more concerned about, let's say, R3 or whatever. If you do lots of stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Two environments is, I think overall, this has to be reduced a lot, in my view. So we should try to find ways that you can spin this up in like less than 5 minutes, I think. You run these things.
Yeah, I mean, it's for sure, considering the time which those tests take, it will be a little inconvenient, I guess. But on the other hand, if you look at like what the mean time for getting your PR reviewed, it will probably not add to this time.
But what is the case today, Rado, is that today when let's say we say merge, right? It goes through. In this case, we are waiting for the test to run and getting the results, right? And then you have to deal with that again. So it's basically a new element in the process. So right now, when you see merge, you're kind of done. Whereas in this case, it's really not done, right?
Right. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
And you have to wait, let's say, worst case, an hour before you figure that out. So it's a huge strain on that moment, if you see. But I do agree with you. Before PR is getting merged, we take a long time. But from the moment it happens, you want to, you're kind of excited and hope everything goes through. And in this case, there will be another. Yeah.
Well, I would add that, if we have a good local testing, then can be pretty confident that it'll work, right? So it's just kind of a last minute sanity check. But if you're relying on that, you might have to, it's broken. I'll try again and fix. And then you're wasting a very long amount of time. Also point out, we don't have to do it at the end. There's like between the ends, right? There's shorter ranges that we can also include, right? rather than everything.
Like end to middle.
Yeah, end to middle or middle to end, right? So for example, you can have a virtual machine image that already contains like all the running kind clusters and everything, well, except the ones that we create, right? That you can just start up immediately and it has like everything installed and ready, right? So there are ways maybe to shorten the end to end as well, to optimize.
No, but so the reason I'm bringing it up, Tal, is because we'll have to plan for these things, right? Going forward, so they don't come by itself.
Exactly.
Someone needs to, yeah. So that's why I'm raising it. Is that if we don't do anything, and it's a strain, then all of a sudden we have to hurry up, right? So either we try to do
we all know what the possibilities are. We need somebody who wants to really own it and be responsible for it.
Yeah, I think Rado, I mean, once if we enable that integration thing on a per PR merge process, how long would it take at this point of time? Rado?
Around the test finish around an hour.
Okay, an hour. Yeah, I think that's what Wim is suggesting. We need to bring that down, the time down. Okay.
Yeah. So the idea that Tal was saying, I also was thinking about it, to create kind of like a pre-built image, like a VM containing basically whatever is needed to run the changes, just to test the changes. The problem here is like how you establish like what's the base kind of thing, and how often you have to rebuild it and so on. So, but let's say it's daily should be enough, right? To have at least the minimal infrastructure, and then just deploy the changes. Like you have to, I don't know, you're testing your changes in some like KPT stuff, right? So you don't have to really wait to build everything, like spin up all this stuff down below. So that would, I guess, made it much quicker. So yeah.
Yeah, I think we can tackle that. So anyway, I think we have raised hand from Vish. Vish, please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, apologies, I joined late. I didn't see any agenda items. So the context I'm trying to get here is we are trying to add some new tests that will get executed post PR approval. Is that what the discussion is about?
Yep.
So are there new tests identified and already written down?
Yeah, that's basically running the end-to-end test suite on per PR thing.
Per PR in a totally different repo, basically?
No,
because in test infra, we already have that working. So we want to be able to run those end-to-end tests in, like, for example, the Nephio repo after a merge has been approved or something like that?
No, Vish, actually right now, yes, the new tests are for OAI. Right now we have for IGC. So we will be introducing OAI test as well, right? So for R2. So that will be a new set of environment end-to-end test. So that's the new test we are talking about.
Okay, so it's a new test, and which will be run in what repos? What repos will this be run in?
Essentially, I mean, obviously, the infrastructure is obviously will be in test infra, and then obviously the images will be built from the OAI repos.
But so Bala, that's the other thing, right? Is that what we have right now, which is part of the problem, we have API, we have core, we have OAI, we have FreeFiGC.
Yeah.
For any change, you should actually do this.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, I think if we do the per PR stuff, right?
Yeah, because see what you see right now is that okay, so there is people doing changes, but why these tests are useful. Today we do module testing and you can do local testing and stuff like that. But where they are useful for is that to do cross-repo validation, right? That's the piece that we are not doing today automatically. We do it manually. We do it when we run the test infra. So that's the challenge that we have, because right now there's people changing in each of them independently, and we need to ensure that these repos stays in sync, right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So, but do we? Oh, I see. Victor has his hand up too. Sorry.
Victor, please go ahead.
You're muted.
Oh. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I was trying to unmute my computer. Yeah. So, in order, let me provide like a quick context about the problem. The sandbox creation takes like 10 minutes. I mean, installing all the cluster API and the necessary requirements. Some of the things are taking more than like in average like 10 minutes. What really takes too much time is the creation of the kind clusters, like the regional cluster, the edge cluster. All those creations is what is consuming most of the time in the test, in integration test. So what I have in mind is for the OAI inclusion, I was planning to create like additional VM creation. So that means that for any, I mean, in short term, for like any new PR request, we're going to test the 3.5GC and OAI integration test in parallel in both operating systems, Ubuntu and Fedora. So what Rado was saying, I guess is fine. I mean, maybe we can reduce that 10 minutes time for the user feedback. And maybe, yeah, I have been trying to investigate more about how to pre-bake some images and try to reduce some time. But I'm still concerned about the cluster creation because, yeah, eventually it's just taking too much time. And what we have enabled in terms like periodic tasks, maybe we can keep it as it is, like we can cover end-to-end from the creation of the from vanilla OS, like installing all the dependencies and make sure that everything is working perfectly. So my point is this: it's like any idea, any extra hand to try to reduce the time to provisioning is more than welcome. So hopefully we reduce those times because yeah, waiting for 1 hour, like waiting for that feedback after 1 hour is too much time. It's too much time for also for the developer experience. But I don't know. Can we
not take a snapshot or something?
Maybe we can take some snapshots, but that has to be for the kind cluster creation. So if we can accelerate that portion of the process, we will see an amazing reducing time.
Yeah, that we say we have a baseline where clusters are already up. We just go from there, basically.
Yeah, or maybe we can pre-pull all the images required for the cluster. So I don't know, like I have some metrics in terms of like the network consumption, the before the test and after the test. Maybe we can also use that information, and also have some metrics about the time which every single test is consuming.
What I've seen other people do basically to reduce the time, the initial time is basically to build an image which has everything pre-baked.
Mm-hmm.
And you basically update that. So Packer is a tool like that. There is other tools like that do that. I don't know what is the best one, but so you basically create a pre-packaged image where all of these conditions are already built in, right? And you can update these images as well on a regular basis if you see that there are changes, right? And then you reduce the time of that initial creation a lot, right?
So
you have no network traffic. Yeah, you reduce 10 minutes, which is substantial if you say it's a substantial amount of time, right? So you basically pull in everything and then you just spin up that image.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the percentage, 10 minutes from the hour is like 1/6, right? So it is something, right? So
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely considered looking into, and that's just like you know, spinning up the VM and installing dependencies, stuff like this. And as Victor was saying, it's worth investigating if it's feasible to have like a pre-built image with kind step already done, test changes on it incoming from the PRs, but additionally have the jobs running which are doing like full end-to-end to catch if anything broke, like, you know, before the kind cluster creation step, right? So at least we'll, you know, for like not running the whole test suite kind of thing, we'll sacrifice it for the time's sake. But that's, I mean, we'll see how it will go, how big a strain or how annoying it will be to actually wait for this hour. And I don't think it's gonna be a big problem. As Tal was saying, you can always run this test suite locally to test your changes, right? So I don't think anyone will just, you know, walk around the room looking at this screen waiting when this hour ends. So yeah, but we'll see. I guess that's something to establish like an experimental way.
And the good thing is, like, we have some metrics. So if you, I mean, I know that the logs are too much, but probably that's good because we have a lot of information where we can analyze and we say, well, maybe this particular part of the process is taking too much time and we can reduce it. So I mean, if you are curious, like, I just invite you to take a look at the logs and see what is there, and we can use it for improvements. Go ahead, Bala.
Yeah, thanks. I think finding that middle ground is a good idea. I think probably we can explore that. Like both of you said, Victor and Rado. So I missed 2 minutes of the conversation, so I'm sorry if I miss speaking here. I think having that pre-built setup in terms of infrastructure for the clusters and VMs, and then using that particular snapshot for every PR purpose, if it can drastically cut down the time, obviously that means we'll not be testing the cluster creation. So I think that's a good compromise, a good middle ground. And then we can have a periodic job that runs once a day, once a night or whatever.
Yeah, well,
That everything from
already
scratch.
have this. We already have this. So
yes, we already have that one. Yeah. So I think if we do that, then probably we can alleviate the pain of time or waiting for each PR merge. If we can even reduce it by, like, how much can it reduce it by? Like if we take a VM with all the clusters already created, can we reduce it by like 50%, 60%? How much can it go down by?
Let me take a look at the metrics. But yeah, probably, I don't know, like at least 1/4 of the time, it should be doable, I guess.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah,
going to maybe 45 minutes instead of 1 hour.
So we say 15 minutes. That's good.
Yeah, but could be more, I guess.
So, but will kind clusters creation and taking a snapshot? I mean, there are certain scenarios where we need to test out the kind cluster creation too, right? Maybe some tests will need that and some tests might not. So we'll have to probably have multiple of those images. We need to test out. I don't know. I'm not sure if kind clusters, if you actually create and you take a snapshot and you try to bring it, if that works. I haven't tried it. But I know after a reboot, I know the kind clusters are gone for a toss. I know that for sure.
No, that's not correct.
Unless it's not correct. Okay, at least the way I've done it, if I reboot,
So you can set
I
up.
tend to have problems unless you set it up as a system daemon or something like that.
Yeah, correct. You have to set up that the container restart and then they come back up.
Yeah, on Podman you can actually create it as a system daemon and then you can run it after you bring it up. Not sure about Docker.
Yeah, in Docker it works. Yeah.
It does set up. Okay, cool.
Yeah, as long as your Docker starts automatically with system, you can basically mark any container to be restarted unless turned off. So it will, after reboot, they will just came back as the Docker service coming back.
Yeah.
So Victor, one thing I didn't understand. Will it take 45 minutes with this, or will it cut it down by 45 minutes?
Victor dropped from
Yeah.
what I see in chat.
He's not dropped. He's off for a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, we can. I guess we can cut around 15 minutes from this time. Well, from what he was saying.
Okay, so basically the cluster creation, it's only take 15 minutes out of this. So most of the time is consumed by the actual test. Is that right then, Rado?
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing that we have to reduce, I think, is in ports, the way the reconcile happens is rather slow. So there is some improvement that we have to do there as well.
Okay.
So because you see sometimes with specialization, it takes just 5 minutes for one, right? If you done. So it can take like 10 minutes even for specialization, but it's just because the way that the ports does the coordination at the moment. But so at the moment it's like that, right? I think John did some enhancement to reduce the failures, but I think we have to do more changes in that space to reduce it. But okay, I mean, these are all things we can do to improve stuff, right? So yeah, but I think we have to go step by step. I think for me this is a continuous process that we always have to watch, right? Because to be honest, setting up the environment manually, I do agree you can do it, but it's also a lot of effort. Huh?
Yeah, Wim, I think I agree with you. I think essentially we have identified two things. One set of jobs that runs on every PR, and one set of job that runs periodically. The periodic job is going to be exhaustive. It's going to be comprehensive. We'll be testing everything that runs once a night that we have. And then we will find the avenues to minimize the time impact for the job that runs on every PR. And then we'll explore as we find, we'll keep on make it more efficient. So I think that's the summary I think can out of this discussion. Yeah, Tal, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to point out that to organize my mind here, we're talking about two separate topics. They might be related, but one topic is optimization, just making sure that everything runs as quickly and as efficiently as it can be. But the other one is, testing and accelerating our participation, right? And this relates a little bit to a topic Kieran pointed out in SIG 2 for our approval process for PR too, right? Having two approvers, etc. So yeah, I think these are two things. They might be related, but there's also we're going to keep optimizing, but if Nefio adds more features and more things to test, it's going to increase the time anyway. So we have to decide per PR and per day what exactly we're testing and when. I think, I just want to separate those two issues and also make a general point. There's a philosophy, which I've seen even in some open source projects, where every commit has to be perfect, right? The idea being that every single commit has been reviewed thoroughly, all comments have been approved and tested, end-to-end testing, anything, and only then it gets accepted. Now, that philosophy is absolutely necessary in agile environments where you're actually pushing code to production, right? And a bad commit can actually have huge costs. In our case, that's not really that, right? Because we have a release cadence and there's a lot of room, even if a bad commit by bad, I mean something that breaks something comes in, we can do another PR that fixes it. It's the pressure to have every commit perfect is not very high for us, right? So I want us to keep that in mind in terms of the decisions we make, according to testing, right? So we have some flexibility. That's my point.
Yeah, Doug. Yeah, I think that's in the same spirit as we are talking. I think so.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's if we, I think that's to summarize here, like I just said before, we'll find avenues for the optimization for the each PR run, and then we'll have the comprehensive run that we already have that runs every night or something. So that's that. And then the original concerns of Vim is probably at this point of time we are not constrained for resources. And then also, since these jobs could in effect could run in parallel, we are not adding additional clock time for the jobs. So I think that's about this topic. So if you're good with that, I have a couple of questions, couple of other things I wanted to bring. The one already Tal brought right now about our PR merge process here, and the questions he brought. Tal, do you think we should discuss in this forum, or should we discuss in the SIG automation with a wider forum?
That's a good question. My first thought that it's SIG automation. I think it's probably more for SIG automation, right? That's where most of the PR work and review process people are there. It's a lot of the same people, right? So,
I just about this. I'd like to propose something to consider. I've seen it done in few projects. For example, the Matter project. That if you have some PRs lying around which are not really doing like revolutionary changes in a code base, and they are just hanging there for a review, give it like, let's say, like a 3 days or 2 days grace period. If nobody picks it up for a review, then let's have like the maintainer or like a bunch of maintainers just merge them. If it's like simple change, like somebody submits to fix typos and stuff like this, not change the API, just simple changes. Just if nobody reviews them because of the lack of time or whatever, just go and just people with enough privilege there to make this kind of decisions, just go ahead and make the mergers. So it clears up a lot of things, and don't make stale PRs hanging. Also, there's a Prow plugin for a PR life cycle, in which you can basically give like a time period after which the PR becomes stale and it will be closed by a bot. So we can also think about this. So far, we're not seeing any PRs that needs cleaning like this, but I guess like give, let's say, a month or something. If it's not touched, then let the bot close. What do you guys think?
So Rado, the question here is slightly on the other spectrum that Siren asked. He was saying that, okay, PRs are being reviewed, but the thing is only a few people can merge them. I think that's the way I understand his question as. So I think probably he wanted, the way I understood his question is, he wanted to increase the footprint, maybe of the owner's file or any, let me just go back to his question. I mean, I think his question was mostly around, can we increase the footprint of who could, let's see if he said.
I think he was more generally expressing, I think, frustration where how hard it is to get PRs in. So he pointed out a few things, but I think I think he was trying to open up the general question. How can we make this easier and less painful? So
And also he's saying only 1 or 2 people can merge it. So can we have more number of people be able to merge the PRs so that we are not waiting for only a couple of people? I think that's also one of his concerns. So essentially, he wants to increase the number of core committers, and then probably we can. That's where the concept of we could have, we could increase the number of things per repo basis. Can we do that instead of the per all?
Well, I mean, even if we expand the list, the question is, do the people have time to do all the work? So I think the topic needs to be open more generally, and we need to consider lots of options. Other people have their hands up.
Yeah, Liam first. Yeah.
Yeah, I just yeah, I think there was with those particular PRs out there, the automation, they were probably held up as well by some. We were working through what our thoughts for our unit testing, and the kind of two things got mixed there. But just on increasing the number of people that can commit reviews, I mean, it depends what I know that the system can't be this granular, but maybe what Rado was hinting at it there, or that for some PRs, maybe we could have a wider list than others. So if it's a PR that's just adding a unit test, or is just correcting a spelling or something, we could have some sort of kind of not protocol, but a sort of approach where a wider group maybe would be able to approve those. Then, say, if we were actually restructuring the way that Nephew works with ports or something very fundamental, maybe then you'd want the real experts of the system to come in and approve those sorts of ones. Just a thought.
There is a Prow plugin that can basically, from the list of people that are actually committing to certain part of code, assign them as a reviewer to the PR. So basically it's doing like a git blame and looking like, oh, this guy was touching this part last, and then assign. So it can kind of like assign people that are specialized in specific area to take care of this PR. How good it works, I don't know. I haven't tested this, but I know that there is a possibility like this.
Okay.
Yes, so it's with me. So yeah, first of all, we should ask Fiacra. He is not on the call, in my view. But I've been reviewing some of Fiacra's PRs, by the way, and so the comments that I have given him is for example the test. So he did a few things, but one of the things that he actually did add a test, which is a good thing in my view. But where he added the test was, in my view, wrong, right? So in other words, he actually added a mock for Porch client and for Gitia client. They should be in a different place than where he put them. So it's not that the tests are not good. It's more about how and where they should be located in some cases, and so on and so forth. But the second thing I have to say is that the amount of people today that review PRs, because for me, it's not about committing, it's about reviewing, right? It's very low overall.
Yeah,
and I think
true.
For me, it's not about having potentially more people committing. It's about people reviewing the PRs. I mean, it's okay. It takes time, but it's just, and anyone can do it, by the way, right? So there is nobody is so anyone can review the PR. And so the way that we organized ourselves in R1 at the time was, okay, we had people together, and I asked people to review the PRs and stuff like that. So it's also a process. You have to, at some point, drive it, right? So it's also a bit of a cultural thing and how we organize with the people that we have. But you can get them through if you want, in my view, but you have to somehow a bit drive it, and then we can ask for help from other people or say, so I think we have to, but I understand Fiacra's frustration because he has been doing quite some good work, in my view. And there is very few people giving feedback and helping to get through the chain somehow. But okay, I'll leave it like that.
Hello, I have my hand raised. Oh, Tal, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with Wim. You know, it's the question is not people. I think it's process. I can say that from my end, it is extremely chaotic, right? PRs, of course, come when they come, right? I get an email notification, but the fact that I got the email notification doesn't mean I have time right now to go over it, right? It could be a big PR, it could be a small PR. There might be a lot of comments, there might be a few comments. I need to reserve time to actually sit down and look at the PR, maybe even test it locally, right? If that's a concern. So we need to find maybe some sort of way to manage the time for doing this, right? Maybe putting responsibilities, maybe even having people on call per week. Oh, it's your turn to do reviews this week on this repo, or it's your turn to do reviews another week, right? Right now it's just kind of like there's a fire hose. PRs come in, and anybody who happens to have time at the moment goes on it. And actually, I've had a conflict where, two people are reviewing the same PR because we didn't know and we didn't coordinate. And it's just a waste of time for everybody, right? So we just have complete chaos now. We just need some sort of system in place for reviewing PR, and that we know who's reviewing and when. Whatever that system is, I don't know, as long as there's a system.
I think good points from both Wim and Tal. I think Tal expressed most of the things that I wanted to say. So that's where I was actually trying to say our planning needs to get better, even for PR reviews too. Like, for anything that we are working on, right? We need to consciously start thinking about it's a feature or it's a code that we are putting in. It needs people to be, it needs a review by folks, which means folks need to set aside time for it too. I mean, I can go review a PR and just give me a +1. That's probably not an effective review, right? So it also, if I had to make an effective review, I also need to look to see any backing documents for that as well to be able to do a good job there. So that is probably where we need to strive to get to. And also context shift, right? I mean, we are in so many meetings. I mean, to what Tal was trying to say, also add to it. 40 hours is not enough per week to get any of these things done, is what I feel. We also need to be able to be cognizant of those things that we probably almost spend like 20 hours doing other stuff, and then we are ending up only with 20 more hours to do the rest of the stuff, which includes probably you pushing your PR as well. So one thing at least I saw recently that might help is if PRs can get assigned, assignees. Basically, I know the other day Liam actually assigned me a PR, which means I know that I need to go review that. Or if there's something that we can do for 2 weeks, we know what is the work that we need to be focused on, and we can actually look at our calendars and plan for it to be there, initially. That'll be good. We need to start actively thinking that way. I know I spoke a lot, but I don't know if it makes sense. But yeah, we need definitely some sort of a streamlined way of doing it so that it's not crazy.
Yeah, Rish, I think you made some good points. But we have been proposing that. We have been actually proposing the same way, assign it to the people who are best at reviewing this. Obviously, anybody can go and review it, but assign up people, and then we also recommended them to put the PRs in Slack, solicit reviews, etc. We have to see how further we can take it.
Because to do an effective review for PR, right, you need to set aside time with less context shifting happening. It might take 2-3 days for somebody to go understand. Me and Ravi were trying to write a PR basically, and for that we had to go look at some code. When I was looking at a code for Git client, it took us like a couple of weeks to come up to speed on some of those things, right? There will be some new concepts. So while there is an urgency that we want PRs to be merged immediately within a couple of hours, it might not be practical. So we need to be planning for, look, it takes about a week for a PR to get merged. So we need to also be okay with that too, because people need to come up to speed. We need to make sure that folks have that time. As you start spending time on that, you get familiar, and your PR reviews later will become a little less time consuming. At least that's the way I think.
Yeah, Vish, thanks. I think Rada, you were saying something and I spoke off in between. Please go ahead, Rada.
So yeah, what I was saying, I agree with Vish's comment for doing, like, making yourself assignee if you're doing the review. This way, we will rule out the situations that like two people are doing review for the same PR without knowing this. So yeah, we in previously we had this problem in test infra. Quite a few times we we did the review of the same thing basically. So yeah, that's a good point to make sure that that you're making yourself assignee for the certain PR, and that people basically look for this if somebody's on it.
Cool. All right. Thank you. I think we will summarize these points in the SIG automation, what we discussed here, and we'll take it further discuss there because there'll be a further audience. Hopefully FIAC will also be there. Then probably we'll get to some. I think some of this we have been advocating, but we'll advocate the same thing and probably we'll try to put a structure around it in that meeting. So if we are done with that, I know there is more to discuss, but probably it's better to be discussed in a wider forum. So Rada, one question I had is if we hit the I'm not sure, obviously we're gonna discuss in SIG automation meeting where we are. So how long if we have a code freeze, that I think you almost automated the release process. Yep. From that point onwards. So I think are we in a good shape there if you have to release once we hit the code freeze?
Yeah, I mean we can release today if you want. So
okay,
we're good on that. Yeah.
Cool, awesome. And then the couple of other things that you're working on, Rado, like the unit testing coverage and other things. Do you think we can get it maybe this week or next week, something around that?
Yeah. For some of them, there are PRs already submitted.
Okay.
And I will put the rest today or tomorrow. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then the other thing, sorry, it's again a question to you. Is it possible for you to attend the Wednesday's SIG automation meeting as well?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, it's I think it's 1 hour before this.
9 PST, Wednesday?
Yeah, it's the same time. Yeah, it's the same time. Yeah, it's the same time on Wednesday. Yeah.
Same time as this meeting here right now.
Yes, it's the same time as this meeting on Wednesday. Yes.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Oh, it's 1 hour earlier, Bala.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's 1 hour earlier. Correct. It's 1 hour earlier.
Yeah. I have it on calendar here, and it's 1 hour earlier than.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Thanks, Pim, for correcting me. I got confused with the.
Yeah. Sure. I will attend. Sure.
Yeah, I think if you the thing is from now to the end of release, I think we will be discussing these items, like either test infra or OAI testing or optimization process in both the meetings. So it would be really great to have you there as well.
All right. Yeah, sure.
Thanks, Rado. So I think those were some of the things that I wanted to discuss. So anybody, yeah, we can go back to our process discussion or any other things that we want to discuss. Please feel free.
Yeah, can we have the agenda items updated before the call? That way, maybe
I did add the PR thing inside of the agenda for automation on Wednesday. The PR discussion. I just added it.
Okay. No, I'm saying in general for SIG Release meetings because I didn't see any agenda items today. So
sorry.
Yeah, we could, but mostly, it will be general release based things. Yes, we could. I mean, I can encourage the community to add to the agenda items, but if not, most likely it will be a release based topics. I can add a generic content there.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Will do. Thanks, Vish.
So we're done?
Yeah, anybody else? Anything else we need to discuss?
No, from my side.
Well, thanks, Tina. Vikram, I know you went in and out. Do you want to add anything, either to AI or anything, any of these processes?
Maybe.
Uh,
No, well, sorry.
no, go ahead. No.
Thanks, Tina. So probably the only question that I have is, do we have like a particular target dates, like for release and all these important days to keep in mind, or we haven't defined?
Yeah, I think Victor, if in an ideal world, this is our last developments week.
Okay.
And then next 2 weeks we need to do that the setup that you're working on, and the integration testing of OAI needs to happen along with running the free 5GC changes, and then the documentation of whatever we are adding to this particular release. That will happen in the next 2 weeks. Ideally speaking, I don't know we are there at this point of time, but I would suggest, please, I would rather request, let's please make progress on this test infra setup for OAI. As we are talking, we can get the data from Sagar or Joseph and Wim, and we can let's continue with that process. But probably Wim and others will give us the guidelines on this Wednesday's meeting, where we are in terms of code freeze. Can we do the code freeze? Do we need more time? I think that's the discussion that needs to happen on a Wednesday's meeting. That's one of the reasons also I wanted Rado to be in those meetings.
Yeah. I think one thing, one thing that I know, Ronak reached out to some people, so he's stuck with the free 5GC with the GTP thing. So I don't know whether anyone could help him. That will be important, I think. And then the other PR is merged, Bala. So the
59.
The thing where Sagar and Joseph are depending upon, so it's merged.
Okay.
So they were unblocked. So I don't know where they are right now, but.
Awesome. Thanks, Wim. I think that's the 59. I think. Cool.
The 57, I think.
Yeah,
okay,
I think there are 57, and then there are 59. so it's
okay. Okay, sorry.
Thank you. Thanks, Wim. So you'll be available, right, Wim, for the Wednesday's meeting?
Yes, I will not be. Yeah, I will be on the road, but I will join. Yeah. I will be there.
So where will you be?
Close. I'm in Europe, so it's not a problem.
Okay. You're closer to home then.
yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Wim. Thanks, everyone. If there is nothing else, we can close the meeting 3 minutes ahead of time. Anything? Any points?
Nothing from my side.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. And I think see most of you on Wednesday's meeting. Then have a good one. Take care.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye.